Welcome back to my YouTube channel SK Tech. In today's video, we are going to discuss the characteristic of polymorphism. We have already seen what is polymorphism and what are the types of polymorphism in one of the previous video. I am going to share the video link in the description section, so do check out. So let's see what are the topics that we are going to cover in this video. So first we are going to cover like characteristic of polymorphism, then advantage of the polymorphism and problem with the polymorphism, and also like overall summary. So let's begin. So beside the method overloading and method overriding, polymorphism has some other characteristic. First is like coercion. So what is coercion? So let's say we have one variable called int type and another variable, let's say we have a double type. And if we want to perform the addition of these two type, we'll think like there might be an error, right? Something like int is a different data type and double is a different data type. But no, in Java it is internally taken care. So basically here int type will be automatically typecast to the double type variable and this type of error will be internally handled. That is called coercion. So what is coercion? So coercion is nothing but the implicit conversion of one data type into another without changing its context is known as coercion. So if we take another example, let's say we have a integer data type like something 165 and one string data type hello, and if we want to perform the addition or if we do some operation something like str.num, so we will think like okay, this is the different data type and this is the different data type, so it might throw the exception. But no, internally Java automatically it will take care and this integer data type will be automatically converted to string and then it will perform the concatenation operation as per the implementation of this plus operator. So if you run this program, you will see the output something like this, hello 165. So this is what the coercion. Second characteristic of the polymorphism is like internal operator overloading. So as we have familiar, as we have already know, operator overloading is not supported in Java, but this plus operator will can perform different operation in a different situation. So like this plus symbol is used to add two numbers if both are the integer data type, or two string will be treated as concatenation operation if both are string of data type. So something like this. So let's say we have a two integer data type, int num1 and num2, and we have string data type, let's say two variable string s1 and s2, right? And if we use the plus operator with the integer data type something like num1 plus num2, then it is going to perform the addition of these two numbers. But with the same plus symbol, if it used with the string data type, it is going to perform the concatenation, means addition of these two string as a append operator. So if you run this program, you will see the output something like for integer data type it is going to perform the addition of these two number, and for string data type it is going to append these two string hello and world. So this is what the second characteristic of the polymorphism, like internal operator overloading. Now moving ahead, next characteristic of the polymorphism is like polymorphic variable or parameter. So what is polymorphic variable? So we have already seen the example of lady in our polymorphism definitions or discussion. So something like if a lady has a child, she is called as a mother. If she has a sibling, she then become called as a sister, and if she has a husband, she can be called as a wife. So here lady has a different value under different situation, right? So lady can be called as a polymorphic variable. So basically polymorphic variable means variable having different value under different circumstances is called as polymorphic variable. And that's why in Java every object or instance variable is called as polymorphic variable, because every object or instance variable has a is a relationship, right, with its own classes and subclasses. So basically variable holding different value at a execution times are known as polymorphic variable. So let's take an example. Let's say we have a class called India and it is having, let's say this is a parent class. Let's say we have a one method called info and some implementation. So and if we have another class, let's say Maharashtra, and extending the India class, so this class will behave like a child class. And if this method is also available inside the class with the same signature, so this will be called as overridden method, right? That's what we have seen in our previous video. right? So if you create the object of the India and assign the instance of the India class only, so this value will become as a, I mean this variable will behave like a parent class, right? And if you call the info method from this object, it is going to call the parent method. Similarly, if in the same variable, if you assign the Maharashtra class type object, then it is going to behave like a child class, that is nothing but the Maharashtra. And if you call this info method, it is going to call this implementation. So if you can see here, this obj variable, it is behaving differently in a different situation. When we are assigning the parent class instance, it is behaving like a parent. When we are assigning child class instance, it is behaving like a child variable, right? So if you run this program, you will see the output like this. So this is nothing but the polymorphic variable. So what is polymorphic parameter? So polymorphic parameter is nothing but the parameter value that we will assign at the runtime and the value which is already available inside the, let's say already inside the class, and if both are different in the data type, and if it is automatically converted by using the typecasting functionality available in Java, then that parameter is called polymorphic. For example, let's say we have a parent class display, it is expecting the input type of num, input type as an integer data type, but internally let's say if we have converted into the string data type. So how we can convert it? We can convert by either using the method of the string class, or we can simply append it some empty string. So this integer variable will automatically behave like a string. But if let's say we have a child class means it is extending the parent class, and if we override this method and define the logic something like this, let's say we have a string data type hello world, and this method is expecting like integer data type, right? So let's say internally, if this integer data type, if we are appending with the string data type, so this data type, this integer data type automatically typecasted to string, and then instead of the addition operation, it is going to perform as a concatenation operation. So something like if you call the if you create the object of the parent class and assign the child class, and using this object, if you call this display method by providing the 404, then automatically, since we are appending it with the string data type, it is automatically converted into the string, and it is going to perform the concatenation. So if you run this program, it is going to print like this. So this is nothing but the polymorphic parameter. So this is one of the characteristic of the polymorphism. Let's move ahead and see what are the next characteristic available in Java for polymorphism. So next property or next characteristic of polymorphism is subtype polymorphism. So subtype polymorphism in the sense, when we have a multiple subclass type, and if we are overriding this class and overriding the implementation, we are creating this parent class object, assigning the subclass of instance and calling it, and then it is performing. But what happen if we want to store the variable also in the subtype? In the subtype, in the sense, let's say we have some variable, and while creating the object of the parent class, assigning the subclass instance and passing the variable value, and that variable value will be stored inside the subclass, not in the superclass, then those are called as subtype polymorphic. Basically, the ability to store the subclass instead of superclass is called as subtype polymorphic. For example, let's say this shape class. So shape class is behaving like a parent class. Let's say we have a area method with some implementation, and let's say we have a subclass type like square, because it is extending the shape class, and we have overridden the method, this area method, and changed the implementation. And also we have created one constructor here where we are just going to provide the instance variable, and that instance variable is going to initialize it here, that is initializing inside the subclass. So this variable is nothing but the subtype polymorphism. Similar to that, let's say we have a circle class. Also we have created the constructor of the circle class, and we are assigning some different value, and accordingly inside the area method we are using that variable. So, and similar goes to the rectangle also, similar to that. So let's say we want to calculate all of the area method, all of the area functionality for all of the class. So instead of creating the each class and then calling the area method, we can do something like this. We can create the array of the all classes, and we can simply pass the constructor with a different value. So this variable value, it is going to assign to the subclass, and inside the subclass, since we have overridden this area method, so it is going to use inside that, and it is going to perform the operations. So something like we have created shape of the array, and then we are iterating and calling the each area method of the each class. So if you run this program, you will see the output of something like this. So basically here what we are trying to do, basically this instance variable, what are the variable that we are passing it here, this variable value is going to be initialized or available inside the subclass instead of the superclass. So that is called subtype polymorphism. Now let's see next topic that we want to discuss is like advantage of polymorphism. So what is the advantage of polymorphism using in Java? So first advantage is like code reusability. That is the main advantage of polymorphism, because once a class is defined, it can be used multiple times to create the object. That's what we have seen in the multiple example, like animal class, like shape class, like bank class, right? Next advantage is like in compile time polymorphism, the reusability of code increases as nearly similar function can have the same name, so it becomes easy to understand the functions. Third advantage of the polymorphism is like the same method can be created in the child class as in the parent class in runtime also. That is based on the runtime polymorphism. Fourth advantage of using the polymorphism is like easy to debug the code. You might have intermediate result stored in arbitrary memory allocation while executing, while code which might get misused by other part of the program. But polymorphism adds necessary structures and regularity to computation so that it is easy to debug. So these are the couple of the advantages of using the polymorphism. Let's say what are the disadvantages, because there could be some disadvantage also. So basically first disadvantage is like implementing code is complex, because understanding the hierarchy of classes and its overridden method is quite difficult, right? We have to understand what are the methods available in the superclass. That same method is going to be available in the subclass also if we are trying to implement the polymorphism, right? That is the concept of the inheritance also. Second problem is like problem during downcasting, because implicit downcasting is not possible. We have seen casting, right? If we have an integer data type and double data type, and if you are doing the addition of these two numbers, so integer data type is automatically typecasted to debug, I mean to double type, because integer is the lower and double is the higher. So upcasting is possible, but downcasting is not possible. Why? Because casting to the child type or casting to the common data type to the individual type is known as downcasting, and that is because let's say if we have a double data type and we want to cast it into the integer data type, so there might be chances of losses of data, because double contains some, after the decimal value also it contains some value, but integer does not. So if you cast it, what are the value available inside the double data type after decimal, it will be removed, so there will be chances of data loss. Third disadvantage we can see like sometimes when the parent class design is not built in correctly, subclasses of a superclass use superclasses in unexpected way, and this leads to be broken code, right? Fourth problem can be like runtime polymorphism can lead to the real-time performance issue during the process, because it basically degraded the performance as decisions are taken at runtime, because the machine needs to be decided which method or variable to be invoked. That's what we have seen the functionality of the runtime polymorphism that could lead the real-time performance, because that is defined or decided at the runtime. So this is what we have discussed, like what are the characteristics, what are the advantage, what are the disadvantages. So let's summarize it. What are the things that we have covered as part of the polymorphism topic? So first we have seen like polymorphism is one of the four part of the object oriented programming, because one of the core feature or core concept of the OOPS concept. Second, we have discussed like with the proper implementation of polymorphism, we can achieve flexible and extensible classes design, because that is important. If we don't have the proper implementation, we might get the some code problems. Third thing we have discussed like there are two main types of polymorphism, that is runtime polymorphism and compile time polymorphism. Then we have discussed like runtime polymorphism is achieved through method overriding and compile time polymorphism is achieved through method overloading. Next we have discussed about is like Java does not support operator overloading but does some internal operator overloading, like same operator can be used to perform the addition and also same operators can be used to perform the concatenation. Next point we have discussed like other than the runtime and compile time, Java support cohesion polymorphism and parametric polymorphism. That's what we have discussed in today's video also. Next point that we have covered is like using the concept of method overloading and inheritance enables us to reuse the code without recompilation. Next point we have discussed is like closely related to functions can be accessed through the common name using the method overloading technique. And next what we have discussed is like method overriding provides a feature where subclasses can use all the general definition provided by the superclasses and add specialized definition through the overridden method also. So these are some couple of points that we have discussed as part of the polymorphism discussion. So next upcoming video we are going to discuss some another important concept of the Java. So stay tuned, we'll meet you soon. Thank you.